What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Fatboy Fade Away Podcast. I got Tyler McGurk over here in the Pink Panther room. What's up, big man? How are we doing this morning?
I'm
7
very
o'clock
well.
Saturday morning. Good.
How you
Case,
doing?
what's up, dude? How we doing?
Chilling, man. 3-day weekend. Ready to enjoy it. Labor Day. It's a good weekend.
We haven't done this in a little bit. Are you guys? All the three of us, we did it last Saturday, but we had some technical difficulties. So as a result, we haven't actually kind of did one in a couple weeks. So I feel like last time we talked, the basketball was kind of just getting started. So we have a decent amount to talk about. So should be interesting to get your guys' topics on it.
Casey brought up Labor Day. Is Labor Day the most overrated? It's a great holiday because you get the day off from work, but we're just gonna have a day off for workers.
There had to be
it
somebody
seems like a crazy holiday. Some super lazy person. I don't want to work today. We're gonna call it Labor Day.
And I bet, if I had to guess, I bet there was Midwest states that were complaining about it first too. This is ridiculous. These lazy bums on the coast, these lazy liberal states, and then
these hippies.
they're like, exactly. And then the people in 1870 were like, damn it, I need that breakthrough. Let's take it. Let's take advantage of that. We'll still get paid for it. That's kind of how I envision Labor Day. You're right. It's kind of a random holiday for sure.
But the laborer, so I was like, I'll take the Labor Day off.
That's true. That is true. I know, because obviously not everything's closed. You used to work Labor Day at the gym, right? Or is that closed too? What you used to do?
I believe it's an actual holiday for everybody, I believe.
Restaurants.
You worked there a decade, damn it. You got to remember that.
I think Airport Club took it off.
I bet you guys were playing basketball over there.
Those were times that
Oh, man. All right, kids, don't take that type of advice, don't they? All right, should we get into actually some real basketball here for a second?
Yeah.
So we got Lakers, Rockets last night. That was the game we finished up watching a little bit. The Rockets, to say they surprised me at least would be, I didn't expect them to come with that much energy. But I guess the thing that, I always I don't want to talk about it too much right off the top, but the whole break thing and, we're not flying or anything like that. So these guys, they kind of sometimes the excuse of not having enough energy and stuff like that when they've played one game, had one day off and played again. But the Rockets, they didn't look like that at all. So the first thing I wanted to get into was the guards. The Lakers without Bradley, are they this bad defensively? Are they not going to be able to stop anybody? Are they going to not be able to play, their bigs as well? So, what are they going to do?
You can't leave to help or else you're going to leave open corner threes. And that's probably what they're going to have to live with in the end. Because I can't see anyone staying in front of Harden consistently and then Westbrook as your secondary option. It's pretty tough to deal with. So it's a bad matchup for the Lakers, defensively, but offensively they should be able to take advantage somehow with LeBron. And this is where LeBron needs a better post game. I saw him do a post game. He got within 2 feet and he sort of just jumped at the hoop and threw it behind his head. I was like, the hell type of move
that
is
was
that?
A random one. Yeah, I saw that. I feel like his post game has gotten definitely much better
it has,
over the last
but it's
4
not
years.
elite. It's not good. It's okay now.
Yeah, he doesn't go to it. He could definitely take more advantage. He kind of goes to it to get to the pass more than sometimes the score, but it's definitely improved there, I think. But yeah, he could definitely do that a little bit more in this series, especially with what's Covington or Tucker are going to be the biggest players probably out there during the big moments of the game. So, Case, where do you sit on that with the guards? And then I also want to get your take on D'Antoni. I feel like if the Rockets, right, they're up 1-0, right? So they're feeling good, stuff like that, and there's a good matchup now. I feel like D'Antoni, I don't know why, I don't have confidence in it. I feel like they're going to somehow – I feel like he's going to blow it somehow. I don't know. I don't feel good about this. The way I don't even really want the Rockets to win, but I guess I got to pick them over the Lakers, right?
I don't know. I was watching that game, and I kind of took away from it. The Rockets guards, they're pretty stocky. They're not just your average kind of guards. They're all pretty thick and big, like Eric Gordon, Harden, PJ Tucker. I'm not just naming guards, but they're pretty much all guards.
They are all guards, you're right.
And so when I was watching, I was like, the one thing that as being a smaller person playing basketball, it's almost more annoying sometimes for a big guy to have a guard on you, unless you just like power him. And Anthony Davis, just that's not his game. He's kind of a finesse kind of post-up player, mid-range jumper. And I was watching a couple possessions where Dave Tucker is just like, I'm like, man, this guy is just jacked up to play defense against him. Like, I was super impressed with just the way they played and the energy, like you spoke about earlier. And I was just like, I don't know. I think the Lakers need to. I don't know. I don't know if they have enough firepower to compete with them. To be real.
But how about what do you think about the Lakers? That goes to my next question. Then is the bigs? Can they play Howard and ADT? Can they play those guys in this? Or I mean, obviously they're gonna play Anthony Davis, but how can they take advantage of him? He's going to be the biggest guy in the floor for him. But can they play Howard and McGee, who are usually pretty big factors for them, and they might not be able to play in this series? So that's going to really shorten the Lakers' bench too. And the Lakers don't really have a whole lot of guards. You know, that's not their depth.
I think you should play McGee more than Howard, just
Even
because for
against Tucker,
for offensive rebounding and defensive, because you're not going to be able to guard this team with the guards you have guarding.
Yeah.
So I'm just offensively, you'll be more effective with another big who can rebound exceptionally and get more secondhand points. JaVale McGee was the only one with a plus-minus last night on the Lakers. We'll take that for what it's worth, but
yeah, he's got to maybe get a little bit more running.
I think he needs to play more.
Yeah, Case, I liked your point about the beefy of the guards, because you're right. They do have that is kind of a good point there, because they do have they kind of built a team well in that sense. They kind of like the Warriors. Remember how they used to try to play small, and obviously they don't have this team, but they would have guys that were small, but there was no defensive concept with the way they were built or anything like that. These guys, there's kind of looks like they might have just thrown it together, but with the pieces they've put, there's kind of a good kind of mix there of Tucker, who can guard like LeBron, like Tyler was talking about, this like crazy behind the back shot. He basically just stiffed him like 4 feet out, and like the Covington can guard like those ADs. So it's like, in a way, I don't know if Morey did it on purpose or how that worked, but it's kind of been a good combination for small ball. Pretty impressive.
No, yeah. Like I said, I was watching it, and I was just like, it almost seemed like it was weird watching it. I was like, it was like us playing like when we could never find a big man playing our rec league. Yeah, firefighter, strong baby. But it was just impressive to me. I was just like, it's hard when you are all 6'4" and you got 2 7-footers, but then at the same time you're like, well, let's just use my advantage. I'm quicker, faster, and more annoying, and I can just disrupt you. And everyone on the Lakers, I feel like, is basically 6'7" and above.
Yeah. Tyler, it's going to have to be, obviously, LeBron's going to have to change the series game too, right? Like, he's going to have to be way more assertive offensively, like you said, in the post, and just being more dominant there.
I mean, I don't see anyone guarding. They did a good job game 1, but I don't see them. I think the Rockets defense thing's being a little overblown. At times they're going to get annihilated. I think Davis is still going to have great games, and they did great game 1, so maybe they do keep it up. I just don't see it happening.
I don't know if it's – I think I get your point on overblown. I'm just saying, sometimes, when I see small ball lineups, at times it can just get annihilated. And maybe it end up will being if McGee plays a little bit more, but they seem like they could have the pieces to make it work in an era that's going
PJ Tucker definitely is – he just is one of those guys you want on your team.
Well, and Westbrook's a really good rebounding guard, so that kind of helps too. You know, I mean, he kind of offsets a little bit of that too. So that'll be interesting to see how that series plays the rest of the way out a little bit. Just real quick, just give me I still have the Lakers winning the series 4-2. Where you guys sit on the series on the total there? Case, you still got the Lakers?
No, I mean, I can't. It's hard for me to go against the greatest of all time, but
gosh, I hate when you say that every time. It gets under my skin.
That is like skip.
But it's your opinion, so go ahead.
So who do you got then? Rockets? What?
I got the Rockets in 7.
Rockets 4-3. T, who do you got?
I had the Lakers in 6. I think the Lakers in 7.
Lakers in 7. Okay, I got them in 6. I wanted to go to the other LA team, and was the Clippers Denver. That one, you kind of knew whoever that won that Denver Utah game was probably they're just not a level probably to the Clippers. It doesn't feel like it anyways. And after game 1, there's not really anything to make me feel anything more confident in, except for I'm sure Denver will play a little bit better this game. My first question is, can Denver even get a game? I'm predicting a sweep at the beginning, so that's where I'm sticking with, and I feel very confident with that after the results of game 1. Yeah, is Denver tired from the plane trip? I'm not sure, but they looked a little fatigued after
the lack thereof
plane trip. So, T, where do you sit with Denver? Can they even get a game?
I think they might get one at 3-0, but the series isn't going to be competitive. I haven't been this sold on the Clippers all year until like that last game where I was like, okay, they're better than everybody.
They're starting to get their guys a little bit healthier and turn it on.
Yeah,
where do you sit with Denver? Can they even get one?
I think it's going to go 6.
6?
I think the Clippers will win in 6. I just think Denver's got a lot of players that are really good. I just don't see them folding like most teams. But I could see it going 6, Clippers in 6.
Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like a sweep to me. But with that said, Denver has a weird way of proving me wrong, like they have in the Utah series a little bit. When they were up 3, they lost game 1, and they were up 3-1, and then I'm thinking, oh, they're better than I thought, and then they're starting to blow it again, or excuse me, they come back. I'm sorry, other way around. They came back, and were starting to prove me wrong, and then they obviously finish it off with a weird game 7 performance, and then they end up getting crushed in game 1. So we'll see what happens. That kind of leads to my next point, though, with Denver is Murray. Going into the playoffs, I was like, he's kind of an underrated player going into the series a little bit. And then after, he rightfully so, he just lit it up, broke tons of records.
One of the greatest series of all time.
Now I'm looking at his cards, or like some of his cards are going for like $100 on eBay. I'm like, good Lord, like, is he now overrated now a little bit? Like, let's keep him in perspective a little bit. That's kind of wanted to have a conversation real quick about him. Like, I don't feel like he has the breakdown skills that the paint yet to kind of be elite. Like, I don't see the mid-range game enough to be elite yet, but his 3-point game, obviously getting around there, is elite, it feels like now. But where do you guys – I just feel like he's slightly now getting overrated. Is that weird?
No. I think it's normal. When someone has that type of series, they're going to get pushed and talked about nonstop for –
I wish I had a Murray card.
First – yeah. I'd take $100 for it in a second. So I
like $75. Are you kidding me?
I think he's a good player. Oh fuck!
I was like, are you kidding?
I think he's like a borderline all-star every year. Like, I don't think he's a championship #1 guy or anything like that.
Is he the Joe? If he played in the East, would he be the Joe Johnson of the East, where he made 6 All-Star games?
Pretty similar.
Case, I know you like Murray though, I think, right?
I didn't say I didn't like him. My God.
No, I was wondering where you sit with him. I don't think Casey thinks he's. Where do you sit with him? Do you think he's now starting to get a little overhyped?
No, I mean, I just think that I think he's great. I don't know, his. I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, like, is he great, or is he? I guess what I'm saying is he just slightly people just kind of reacting to the now. You know what I mean? Or do you think he actually has the game to kind of go to like the top 10 level type thing, like that top 15, I guess, is probably what.
Well, I mean, that's life. You're going to react to what's happening, then and there. But, I mean, I think he's got potential to be a top 15 player. I personally love Donovan Mitchell and seeing them go back and forth. They were like high school AAU, played with each other or against each other. And you can just see like certain players just have a competitive – I don't know. It's just a DNA thing. I think you're just born with it almost. And then over time you just kind of – you can see in someone's eyes, and I don't know, you just get that. Like Jimmy Butler, you just Andre Iguodala, you just kind of like, all right, it's my time, 4 minutes left in the game, close time, they're going to bring it home. And those are the type of players I think are special.
Yeah, I don't think Murray is quite there yet. And he's got to prove it to me a little bit more in those areas. I agree. I think he had a good series here, but I just don't. I don't believe in him yet. I just don't see it. I just don't see it yet. I need to see.
He
a little
could
bit
get
more.
there.
He got up when Ingles hit him, and he wasn't the same. And he still pulled off some great shots.
Was that a cheap shot, by the way, or do you think Eagles do that? Do they do that on purpose?
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, that would hurt so bad.
O'Neal got out hella hard, and then they didn't
Tyler,
call 5 seconds later. 2 seconds later, Joe Ingles just.
I know that wasn't. Did you see that shot he took?
Yeah, it was. I
man.
think it was a cheap shot.
That was definitely a cheap shot. Hey, so one last thing with Denver before we get to the Clippers real quick. Back to the Clippers is Jokic. I just wanted to point him out real well. Like that end of the series, that last one, he impressed me the most at the end of that game. A little bit more of that game 7. He kind of took over a little bit more of the offensive load. Sometimes I felt like last year in that series they lost to Portland. One of my critiques of him was that he kept being the handoff guy instead of trying to actually get a little bit more aggressive towards the hoop. And I was like, all right, well, at least he's actually shooting the ball this time. I mean, he was still giving it to Murray, which is going to happen. But as a big guy, you can kind of sometimes get lost if the point guard doesn't, if the play's not necessarily called for you. So I like that he was getting some shots and he hit the old school jump hook. We don't see those too often, kids. We don't see those out there. So that was awesome to see. And then the other thing with the Clippers, Harrell was the 6th man of the year was announced yesterday. I think most of us picked Williams to win it when we did the list back a month ago, but he ended up winning it. He's definitely one of my favorite players. He kind of almost reminds me of like a better version of Kenneth Faried at times. Maybe in that same field, but maybe they're equal. But Tyler,
I think it's their haircuts.
Maybe that's what it is. But there's their energy too, their haircuts.
And their build, and they're pretty similar players. The Clippers have won 6 of the last 6 man of the Clippers have won the 6th man of the year award 6 of the last 7 years.
Really?
Yeah, going back to Jamal Crawford and Lou Williams and now Harrell.
So the 6th man award's basically just becoming like almost like
give it to the Clippers.
A Gold Glove award in baseball, where like the third baseman just all right, Eric Chavez for
Doc Rivers, you're a great coach. This is
so they just signed the guy that's like an automatic 6th man, like Crawford, that no doubt. Yeah, he's already won it twice. Lou Williams, no doubt.
I mean, they've all earned it. I would say also. I would like.
They doubled up this year because they have Lou and Harrell. Lou didn't win it.
I don't know how Lou didn't win it. I don't. It is what it is.
Yeah. Harrell's a good player though, man. Like, so he definitely deserved it, and he's definitely one of the big. I think the Clippers are at their best when him and Lou are playing well. I mean, they're just unstoppable when they're playing well because they get that extra scoring.
It's like a regular starting 5-2 coming off your bench.
Yeah,
yep.
And his energy is insane.
No,
they are.
On the bench, it's like, oh, okay, we're just going to put – I mean, if they played for any other team, they'd be starting.
They would be starting for a lot of teams, no doubt about it, for sure. I would almost want him off the bench just because how crazy he plays off the floor there.
Hold on, so, you brought up who did bring up? The guy who looks like Harrell, Faried. Do you remember when he started for like Team USA and it was after the Olympics, the big tournament after that, and he was starting, and he was like
like the FIFA team or something like that.
FIBA or whatever, He was doing good too. He was averaging like 15 and 10, and then like his career just fell apart when he went back to the Nuggets.
I mean, the thing with him is he never had enough like shooting range to eventually like stay.
Harrell doesn't have any shooting range.
Well, I mean,
unless they got hurt, is my guess.
Harrell seems a little. Harold, to his credit, he's much better offensively than Faried ever was. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Faried, though, I would say was a better rebounder at this point. Like, he just was. That was his thing. Like, that was at Morehead State, he would just go for every rebound.
Is that the greatest college name of all time? Morehead.
Hey, Grandma, I'm applying to colleges. I really want to go to Morehead.
Morehead has always been intriguing to me.
No, I can't wait to give my family bumper stickers. Really.
I remember
the 10-year-olds.
Really all excited about that. Yeah. Got a real selling point there with Morehead.
What were you going to say, Casey?
I couldn't hear you, Casey.
Have you ever heard of the guy Craven Moorhead?
No, but it's a great name if that's a real guy.
That's also very well played there. All right, let's get to a couple more things. NBA here. We got Milwaukee and the Heat. The Heat, that's probably my best prediction so far. Is they're beating, not necessarily sweeping Milwaukee, but I had them beating them in 7. But Miami is up now 3-0 on Milwaukee, commanding lead. First of all, just a bad matchup for Milwaukee. Like, I don't know, like it just seems like their guards, they just can't stay with them enough, and maybe the time off and the no home field advantage seems like a big thing for like a team like the Bucks for sure. So I don't know, T, what are you seeing from that matchup, or why do you think the Bucks are having a hard time matchup with the Heat?
The Bucks just have more players that can play basketball like at a higher level. The Bucks roster. Did I say the Heat have more basketball players that can play basketball at a higher level? The Bucks roster has always been very overrated to me. Like Bledsoe is athletic, but he's like a bad Russell Westbrook.
He's not a consistent shooter.
No, he can't shoot really. Chris Middleton is okay. He's good, but I think Giannis makes him an all-star. Like when people can say the best duos and they mention those two, I'm like, well, this is like Barry Bonds and Rich Aurelia. Like, you have one guy. So, and and Brook Lopez, I've always not been a fan of. He can't rebound. He gets like 6 a game, and he's 7'2".
Yeah, that's
so. And the Heat just have all these like the Rockets, these 6'8" guys that can hit threes, and then they have Bam and
that Bam guy is really good.
A legitimate center.
Yeah.
So, and then Jimmy Butler has that heart that is you either like playing with him or you hate it, but he's going to make you play hard.
Yeah.
It's almost like a Jordan attitude in a way, but just not as good. But
he has that mentality. Lillard almost in a sense.
Yeah. Well, Lillard, I feel like is more of like that only on himself, really, than like where Jordan and Butler like will rub teammates the wrong way just to.
That's true. Like, yeah, no, that's a good point. Case, what do you think of that? What do you think? Do you think Milwaukee can make a little pushback? I mean, it's never happened before. I mean, it seems like when there's no fans, there is a possibility of something like a crazy 3-0 comeback being possible.
I mean, first of all, I just wanted to piggyback on what Tyler just said. I mean, Jimmy Butler leaving the Bulls, where'd the Bulls go? Downhill. Left Philadelphia, where'd Philadelphia go? Not very far. Every time.
Where the Timberwolves go, first pick.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's a trend. The guys, you can hate him all you want, but I think him and Chris Paul and LeBron are probably the best leaders, and Steph Curry involved in the NBA. They just, I don't know. It's just crazy to me how you can just.
Butler's just a different leader than those guys. He's just a lot more raw.
Paul's a little similar.
Yeah, that's true. Paul's just a little bit more political than Butler is at times with his words.
Well, outside of the locker.
That's what yeah. He's a little bit more like that. So,
yeah. And I wouldn't put Curry in that top.
Do you guys think Butler's a top 10 player then?
No.
So I got.
Yeah. He's.
Can I finish?
What was you saying?
I was gonna say I just wanted to finish here briefly, but I think it started when he went to Miami. I think him and Pat Riley, the combination, perfect. Eric Spoelstra, amazing coach. But his first practice, he showed up at like 3 a.m. by himself. And he's like, "Where are you guys at?" to his teammates, and then everyone started showing up, and I was like, "That's pretty cool." Like like everyone started to follow and show up at 3. And then, so it's like almost a competition who can get there the earliest. I really
3 of the boys.
I'm sure all the wives were pissed. You're going to play basketball at 3 a.m. Yeah, right.
But now
you're going to that horse in Equus house.
Trouble. Now, I think it's worked out perfect for him. I just feel like they're like the closest team that is, like camaraderie wise.
Yeah, no, I think you're right in that point. They definitely. That's why I kind of liked them in the bubbles, because they kind of knew who they were, and most of their guys came back, and they didn't really have too much of a change from that standpoint. So Butler, we're saying is not a top 10 player, or Tyler, we're thinking he's right on the 10, 11, 12 range.
No, I'd say 8 to 12. He could be in there. This year, this playoffs, it's looking like he is.
Yeah, with no Curry and Durant, he probably even jumps up to like the 6 area at times. What do you? I was really impressed with the Heat when I saw that Hero guy. Though I wanted to touch on him real quick. He kind of reminds me of like a. I don't want to say Clay without the movement. I just like his kind of. He has a lot of his intangibles. I kind of see with him a little bit. Like he just kind of plays his role, and he seems very like dedicated to like his craft a little bit. Like I don't know. He seems like a really like good player, and he doesn't look like that because of his body or so. I don't know. Like, he just kind of has like a random. It doesn't really seem like he'd be anything like special, but I really like his game. Have you guys been impressed with him at all? Case, you've seen him very much?
Yeah, no, I just love his confidence, the way he plays.
Yeah,
he's not afraid to take shots. He just comes in, and it's kind of like cool. Like he came from Kentucky and played. He seems super composed.
Yeah, that's what I've been impressed with for sure.
And I think playing alongside with Jimmy Butler and like veteran like Andre Iguodala, like it just really kind of I don't know. I think that's a big part in basketball, just having good mentors. You know, giving you the hey, you're really good. Just play your game.
Miami's kind of a funny team, Bob, because I feel like they've been rebuilding for like 12 years. It feels like, it just kind of feels like that. They haven't been rebuilding that long, but they're kind of been like Olynyk, and they still have these guys like Dragic. So I feel like, I don't know, they're just like these. You don't think of them as anything special, but they're just kind of like they've stayed steady, and now they got Butler, and now they're able to kind of make this like climb a little bit, and they add Hero in there. So Tyler, you liked Hero too, right? Didn't you?
Yeah, I give all the credit to his first name. But he there's like YouTube videos where he's just, even in high school, he's getting like JJ Redick treatment from the opposing fans. So he's dealt with like people hating like that type of pressure.
Yeah.
And man, Kentucky's getting a lot of love this podcast.
Kentucky is getting a lot.
And
they are getting a lot. Well, that's what happens when you go out. I don't know if everybody you can't legally.
I don't know if number 6 is retired in Miami because of the second best player of all time. But if he changed his name to number 6, he'd have the greatest nickname of all time with Big Hero 6.
Big Hero 6. Let's put it out there. That's our idea for you. Put on number 6. See if LeBron will let you bring it down from the rafters, and that could be a good selling point for him. You could be on Disney Plus in no time. So that's
you have the skin color they look for. You'll be right there.
You'll be right there. White privilege, right? That's what they're saying. So that series will wrap up tomorrow, or possibly wrap up tomorrow. Game 4, Miami up 3-0, like I said. So the last one we wanted to touch on real quick was Boston and Toronto. Boston looked like they were going to be taking the commanding lead 3-0. Lowry makes a great pass over to. Can you guys say the guy's name for me that hit the 3?
The old gangster Obunobi. I don't know how to say it. OG something.
OG Alwyn. Yeah, I just can't say his last name. You know that. Say it, Case.
OG Anunoby.
Okay, so Lowry makes the pass to
from Indiana.
I just should call it OG.
Yeah,
that's fine. The original OG. Just he hits it like a crazy. Does a fantastic job of the quick release. Very impressive there, the 3-point rate. And I mean, when they showed the replays, I mean, Jaylen Brown missed that block by like, it couldn't have been by very much. I mean, he looked like I was like, that's an impressive wingspan. He would, if that was me, he would have swatted the crap out of that thing. Like, just like how much ground, when they slow-mo that, how much ground these guys cover. So the fact he made that 3 to me was just like incredible. Keeps their season alive. Boston now has got a rebound. You know, they definitely can't lose this one. Then the momentum completely swings back to Toronto. So Boston has them down. They got to win this game for sure. If they don't, I think they're going to be in big trouble. So I'm really interested to see what Tatum and Brown and Smart bring to the table today. Tyler, what do you think? You're the Boston guy here. They're up 2-0. Is that a big loss for them?
2-1.
2-1, but they were up 2-0. Is that a big loss for them?
Well,
Yeah.
it's a huge loss.
How do you
That's
see it
tough
playing
to
out the
deal
rest of the
with.
way?
But I think they'll be all right. I think they're better at every position except power forward, in my opinion. Like, they just need and maybe center. I don't know who they both don't. I like that Robert Williams guy though on the
I like
Celtics.
Tice. He's
And
good for
Thies
the
isn't
Celtics.
bad either.
Yeah.
But I just love Jaylen Brown. Like you mentioned, Harrow reminding you of Clay. I think their game might be a little different, but they have that quiet demeanor. They take responsibility for what they're supposed to do, and they don't talk a lot. You don't see them getting animated and they just go out and play.
You mentioned Brown and his kind of maturity, and he mentioned after the game he took full responsibility for it. He's like, because he didn't need to leave the guy as much as he did. He left him.
No, he just left him.
He left him unnecessarily. I mean, I get what he was thinking. He's probably not going to make the pass, but he just left him a little too far and obviously paid the price heavily. But you're right. He made some good comments about the game, how he took responsibility for it, and he just seems like a good leader and seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders. So Boston's in really good shape for the future, obviously, with him and Tatum leading the charge and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see what Boston does there to finish this off. So, Case, let's go to the Toronto side of this. They're obviously, looking like the season's coming to an end here. They make this crazy inbounds pass there. The original OG hits the three, and then they end up staying alive basically. But like I said, this is a big game for them. Boston still has to feel they have the edge going into this game. They just kind of feel like they've been the better team, and they gave them this one. So what's Toronto do? They haven't really got a great performance yet from Siakam. Is that the key?
So I'm going to throw it back to 2006. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello? Is anybody there?
I'm going to throw it back.
All right.
Uh-oh. Technical difficulties.
No, we're good. We're good now.
You guys there?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
I'm going to throw it back to 2016. So you guys remember the Oklahoma City versus the Warriors series? Where it just seemed they were overmatched and they were down 3-1? You remember?
Yes, we remember.
I feel like this is the type of series where Toronto, they just have championship pedigree. And I don't know, Boston, it just seems like they're ready to win, but they just don't do the things in closing times to win. But I think they're way more talented. I don't know
Well,
if
it's going to be – yeah, no, I get you. It's going to be like when – I always compare that when you say something like that. It's like to the old Yankees-Pirates series back in 1960 where the Yankees outscored the Pirates by 48 runs, but the Pirates still won the World Series.
You're bringing up Carl Yastrzemski?
Not Carl.
Yeah. Yaz. No.
No, it was a shortstop for the – he is in the Hall of Fame.
What was his name? He had some weird name like Yastrzemski.
But you're right. That's a good point.
Mazeroski,
yeah. Where you could see Boston outscoring Toronto by 30, 40 points in the series, but Toronto still just kind of hangs in enough games and pulls out a win. They win by 7 total points or something crazy like that. Because that's a good call. I could see that being the case. I think that's how Toronto can actually probably realistically win the series. You're right. That's actually a really good call.
They need to hit threes, though. That they have to.
I mean, right. That's the name of the game now. Van Fleet's not been good. He's so streaky.
Well, he's been his mind. I think it's a mental thing being in this bubble, man.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, people don't realize we all deal with. I hate to get on that subject, but people deal with depression, isolation. So many different issues without family. It takes a toll on.
No, I think
they have their families with them now.
They do now. The coaches, though, I guess, what was it? Denver's coach ripped into the NBA for not allowing the coaches to have their family there.
I mean, fair enough. I'd be upset.
He's because I guess they're, I don't know why. Maybe they're too old or something. I don't know what his thinking was there on that one.
The lawsuit if one of their wives caught COVID in the and they died.
Maybe that was part of it. There was too many people at risk in that age department or something. So Casey, obviously you're still gonna have Toronto. Tyler, you're still gonna have Boston. I took Toronto in 7, so I'll stick with Toronto with Casey's theory of Toronto losing the over under on points here, getting destroyed but still squeaking out. I like that call there. So you've convinced me. I'm with Toronto on that way, winning the series.
Hey, Canada.
I still, that's my favorite scenario. If the Raptors somehow beat the Clippers in the finals, like I don't know, that's just like one of those things that would be like kind of crazy that you leave the team and then somehow you lost to them and they didn't actually gain anybody that was better before.
Has the East regressed again back to?
It feels kind of like that, but then you see Boston and you're like,
I mean, Boston, I feel
of,
like it's the only one that can grow into a power.
Yeah, I think I mean, it's hard to see Giannis staying with Milwaukee, right?
Yeah, I don't see it.
Warriors, guys. Giannis to the Warriors.
We're losing Clay. I'm not doing that.
Well, you have to. Yeah, I don't want to lose Clay for sure. I'd lose Draymond.
I'd lose Draymond in a second. I'd lose Draymond for a lot of people.
I lose Draymond. I'll take Giannis. I think Draymond. I think Giannis, we'll say, is a little bit of an upgrade.
Speaking of Draymond, his analysis is amazing, but as an active player, he says stuff that I'm like, shut up. You're just pissing people off. You're putting a target on our back.
That's
Warriors
just how
back.
I don't even think he cares. He loves putting a target on his back.
Nah, you're right.
So like, Case, we wanted to do a 26 and under list. Give me your list real quick. I got a few guys that we could talk about real quick. We wanted to get in that before we got out of here.
No,
on the NBA.
To me, Doncic, number one. I did this in order too.
Okay.
Tatum.
Okay.
Pass. Siakam.
We're good. Good. Jamal Murray.
Over Booker?
Okay. And who you got 5?
I don't have Booker in there.
You forgot about him.
You got Booker's got to be in there.
Brown was my 5.
Who was 5? I'm sorry, cut out.
Doncic, Tatum, Pascal, Murray, and Brown. So Tyler, we're probably taking Murray out. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And putting Booker in the list there.
I think I'd put.
Is Booker better than Tatum? Casey said no, obviously.
I'd rather have Tatum than Booker.
Yeah, I think that's a good call too. Yeah, it's a good list there. There's some good players. I have Trae Young possibly, in that, possibly getting in that mix. He's good. Donovan Mitchell, Zion Williamson. I think you guys aren't as big a fan of him, but I think he's on the list. So there's some good. That NBA's in good shape. They got some good young players coming.
If
Ingram could.
Tyler convinced me.
Ingram.
Tyler convinced me. I'm taking Murray out. I'm putting Mitchell in.
He convinced you. He just said his name.
I agree. Mitchell is better than Murray, in my opinion.
I took him off the list. You're right, Tyler.
How does it?
No Booker still?
How does a guy like Mitchell and Bam go? How does it possibly go after 10 in the draft? It's crazy to me.
Did Mitchell go after 10?
Yeah. I think he went like 11 or something like that.
I thought he was getting a lot of hype going into the draft at the end, but I don't know.
He might have got.
I know he wasn't talked about. I don't know. You might. I don't know how they do.
It's just crazy. And then Bam goes. They go back to back. It's just nuts.
Another Kentucky mention.
Just to throw out you guys. Just
Louisville, Kentucky.
No, Mike Bam went to Kentucky.
He could be on that list too. He's pretty good.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Case, what you're saying?
I just threw out a question for the hell of it. Who do you think's going to have a better career, John Moran or Zion Williamson?
I think when you said that one before, I think I'm definitely.
I said
Moran.
Ja.
I
think Ja's health is more. At worst, Ja Morant is Derrick Rose without an MVP award. At worst,
I think I would take Zion if I want to think about it. Actually, I'd go with Zion. I think his peak 4 years will be pretty good when he has him. He'll be like I think.
What do you see his numbers being?
I could see him being Blake-esque,
like 25 and 10.
Yeah, I could see that being his best, kind of best season or something like that, and I could see him actually having more rebounds than that. I could see him having like a 14 rebound season or something like that.
I think he's not a great rebounder he's not big, but
he's just too. I just saw a few things I like. I think he'll get when he starts gets a little bit more in shape. I think he'll make that push in there. So a lot of big games.
Famer?
Go ahead, Jason. Huh?
Is Blake Griffin a Hall of Famer?
He's probably that's always a question. In the NBA, you never know if you combine his Oklahoma career. He did what?
You get a slam dunk championship.
He got a sweet. Yeah, I don't know where I say with them. I think I would think if he played at least the next 5 years, he'll accumulate at least the stats to put him in pretty darn close category. If he stops and can't play anymore, then maybe he can't get in. So, yeah, he's kind of an interesting one. He's
one of those
man. He's really felt, but he was a great player though for 4 years though. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
I don't know. He was exciting.
I mean, he was
killing
the Warriors. There was times that he would get the ball in the post, and he was dominating them in that playoff series. And he would just back in Carl Landry and all these other guys, and then the series against.
Was that being really great, taking advantage of Carl Landry? It wasn't like he was doing it against elite. He was never. But
he had he had 25
more
season.
Exciting than good.
I thought for 2 years he was pretty good there, in series and stuff. I thought he was pretty.
He was an all-star and he was worthy. It's not like he wasn't good. I'm not saying that. He just was more excitement.
And all I'm pointing out is that in the midst of his career, he's had a season or two where he has been pretty elite at times. Not the whole career, but he has had a season or 2 seasons. What puts him in the mix is what you said, these other accolades, what are these probably unnecessary all-star games and stuff like that. That's probably what puts him in. But he's had those seasons where it's
I think I put elite maybe a little higher than you. I put elite top 5 player, not all-star.
I mean, maybe he wasn't there, but he probably was pretty close to that one season he had, right? And he had 26 points a year and was 10, was getting 11 rebounds and was shooting 55%.
Probably 50%.
And was making clutch plays down the stretch.
No defense. I'm just saying.
You forget, my friend. You forget. He was
what, you think he's a good defender?
You're saying that he never had a good year.
I didn't say that. I said he's not elite. I said he was an all-star.
So I'm not.
You're saying elite. Yes, you said he's elite a lot.
Yeah, exactly. So that's elite.
Okay. No, an all-star's not elite to me.
So what's elite? LeBron James? Is that your
Anthony Davis?
Is that what you're saying?
Anthony Davis, Jimmy Butler's.
Yeah, that's where he's at. He was
never there. How many?
Oh my gosh!
You think he was Anthony Davis?
I think at least for one series.
Anthony
Davis. How many series has Anthony?
I don't care. Anthony Davis plays defense. He blocks shots. He does more than one thing.
I would say
he's way better than Blake Griffin. It's not even close.
I would say that Anthony Davis has the potential to be better than Blake Griffin, but to this point, Blake Griffin's had 3 or 4 better seasons.
Then no, he hasn't.
Look at
Anthony Davis' best season is better than any season than Blake Griffin had. You think Blake Griffin was ever the number 1 fantasy basketball player in this season?
I would say probably close.
No.
I would say probably close. So this somehow turned into rip on Blake Griffin, who's actually a pretty good player.
Yes, he's pretty good. All right, we changed it to pretty good. I'm okay.
So you basically had a 4-minute argument over the word elite. Just to let you know, Tyler.
Yes,
that's what you basically.
I mean, and you kept going with it.
You are the most argumentative person on earth. Nobody argues.
That's fair.
You picked the word elite.
That's fair.
You wanted to have a 5-minute discussion.
Yeah, I wanted you to say he's not elite.
Holy shit! So that is crazy on your part.
Crazy on your part, you can't say he's not elite. You still won't say it.
With that said,
see, you won't even admit you're wrong.
With that said, Blake Griffin, you won't admit you're wrong. You're saying Blake Griffin.
Because I'm not wrong. Player. He's not elite. I never said he. Look up where I said he's a terrible player and play it back to me, please.
What is wrong? Why are you fighting? Why are you making an argument so much over the word elite?
Because he's not elite.
For one season, he was not elite. For one season, I guarantee he was a top 10 player for 1 year. I guarantee I bet he was a top 10 player for 1 year. There's no doubt in my mind he was for 1 year. He was a top 10 player. That makes you elite for 1 year.
Okay.
Thank you.
I don't think he was ever a top 10 player, but
Casey, save us.
I'm glad I brought up Blake Griffin.
I know. I never thought Tyler would get so passionate about Blake Griffin.
You're the one fired up. Look at
you're the one that's arguing elite.
You're yelling. You're yelling. You're arguing elite. You're too fired up. Calm down. You're arguing elite
like it's the biggest deal in the world. You're like elite. What's wrong with elite? He was elite for 1 year. My gosh, that's what happened.
Who's more fired up?
Daren.
At this point, I am much more fired up because you're arguing over the word elite. Crazy to me.
You're the one still arguing.
Unbelievable.
You're the one still arguing.
It felt like
all right, well, that was good.
it felt like you guys were being over.
Unbelievable. All right.
It is.
No,
You said he was better than Blake.
I think I might buy a Blake Griffin jersey just because of this. I don't even like Blake Griffin.
He's never been worth the contract he's had, except his rookie one.
Nobody said that. I said 1 year.
Yes, elite players are worth their contract.
So, Daren, going
yeah.
Get a little bit more dig into your soul right now. Blake Griffin over Steph Curry?
Absolutely
like
not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No way at all.
Bro, Blake Griffin.
No. At the time, I probably would have took Griffin still number one.
I agree. I would have too.
But I would have took him.
Rubio as well? Or?
No, I'll take Johnny.
I guess my point with Griffin, the ultimate point is we forget over time. Like it's been like 6 years since his best years ahead of him. And so like in that time, we can forget certain players that have had like how that season actually unfolded, how they played, like when Chris Paul got hurt, how he carried that team. You know, like there's certain factors that he did have that people were going to forget about. Yes, when it came to the playoffs, he did not go to the post enough. He did not do well enough with double teams. That was ultimately his career overall. But I believe for years he did have a ability to do that given the players that were in the league, I guess, at the time.
I've never questioned his ability.
So I think that's where he's at for 1 year.
Well, he would have been a mediocre player.
But he was never better than Curry, except for would you say he was better than Curry the year they beat him in the playoffs? I mean, I don't know.
Without Chris Paul, he would have been a mediocre player.
No, he's better than that. Also.
No, he put him to that was a little low blow, but I meant like.
I mean, Baron Davis and him played pretty well there for a couple of years too.
The way he did without Chris Paul. I mean, they were named Lob City for a reason. Him and DeAndre Jordan were just,
I did not.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to say anybody you play with, you have to have like decent players to play with for sure. So, well, that was funny that we got off track a little bit. I did not have Blake Griffin on the outline, but that's what makes it the best. Tyler, thank you for having bringing your Wikipedia knowledge to the podcast this morning.
What are you
Griffin,
talking about?
I got your back. You got your back, buddy. I love
My
you.
Wikipedia knowledge.
Somebody
what does that
donated
even mean?
The word elite. You did very well with defining it.
We have different definitions. Look at you. Oh my goodness. What do you? That was
I appreciate the information.
A backhanded shot. Oh, your Wikipedia knowledge. That doesn't even mean anything. Wikipedia knowledge. I'm just the fan here who
you're able to
knows
bring
what
it
I
up.
see.
I appreciated that. That was a good knowledge there.
I didn't even define elite. I defined my elite. I even agreed. Okay, maybe we have different levels of what we think elite is.
Well, this was an elite podcast. So with that said, we'll see you guys on the next one. Later, guys. See ya.